Well, covering this story for us is France 24's Yuka Royer. She's with me now. Yuka.
Hey, Nadia.
Hello. We just heard the organising committee saying there's no chance these are going to be delayed or cancelled. So how will the Games be organised?
Well, the organisers and the Japanese government say that they're confident they will be able to host a safe and secure Olympics by creating huge bubbles that will be watertight in terms of pandemic control. But the public isn't convinced how they'll be able to keep the virus at bay when 100,000 people will descend on Japan from 200 different countries. Some are even worried about the possible emergence of a new Olympic variant during the event. Now, the organisers say that a decision on a maximum number of spectators allowed at Olympic venues, or whether there will be any spectators at all, will not be made until after the lifting of the current state of emergency that's in place in about 2 prefectures, including Tokyo. And that will expire on the 20th of June. That's only a month before the opening ceremony. And this lack of transparency overall hasn't gone down well with the public and the people involved even. About 10,000 of the 80,000 people who have signed up to volunteer at the events have since pulled out.
So we can understand then why it is actually that so many Japanese people are opposed to this going ahead.
Well, what's the point of hosting the Olympics is the big question that many people are asking right now. The biggest anger really is the fact that the IOC and the government are seen as sort of gambling with people's lives in order to host the Games at all costs. A high-ranking IOC official last month came under fire after he said that the Games would absolutely take place even if a state of emergency remains in Tokyo. And because of these restrictive measures, the state of emergency, many restaurants and shops are bleeding cash at the moment. They're having to shorten their business hours and are banned from serving alcohol to customers. And it's become clear that the kind of tourist money that the Olympics could bring to local businesses, well, it's not going to happen. And under the host country contract with the IOC, Japan is obliged to provide thousands of medical staff to work at Olympic venues, and this at a time when hospitals are under stress, when people are having to wait a long time to get treated for COVID symptoms, and some are even dying at home. And only about 3% of the population has so far been fully vaccinated, and it's not at all clear how many more will be before the Olympics start. The head of the government's own advisory panel on Tuesday gave a sharp warning in Parliament. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
今の状況でやるっていうのは普通はないわけですよね、このパンデミックで。一体何のためにやるのか、そういうことが明確になって初めて一般の市民はそれならこの特別な状況を乗り越えようと、協力しようという気になるんだと思います。
Well, Yuka, some of the athletes have already begun to arrive. The Australian softball team is staying in Ota, that's north of Tokyo. How are locals reacting to their arrival?
Well, the mood hasn't really changed that much in that the first team have now arrived, and they're sort of setting the stage for a more of the kind of sad and somber arrivals in the days ahead. Unfortunately, the softball team are obliged to stay at their hotel or at the stadium where they practice, about 100 kilometers north of Tokyo, and locals are not holding any public events to welcome them or and not even visiting them to practice. Let's take a listen to some of the mixed reactions from locals.
せっかく来たのにね、会えないもんね、練習も見れないし、ね、そうです。
応援したい気持ちもありつつも、やはりコロナの収束だったりとか、予防接種がなかなか進んでないとか、市民としての不安も。
So it is likely, well, it's looking certain now that the sporting event will take place, but the kind of Olympic spirit that one could expect from a host country is just not being felt in Japan right now.
All right, Yuka Royer, thank you very much indeed for your reporting today.